Hey, have you ever watched somebody act like they're the main character? Like they own every room they walk in? Arrogance dripping off them like it's perfume? Wow. You can feel it, right? That fake confidence, that smug little grin? You just know they're writing their own downfall. Yeah? Because arrogance always forgets the audience is watching. And guess what? Everyone's laughing now. They thought they were untouchable. Oh nah, not anymore. The show flipped, the script burned, and now the spotlight's on you, the quiet one. They underestimated. They didn't know this would happen to you. If they mess with someone built from patience, scars, and silence, oh, they played the wrong game this time. So listen up. This isn't just a story, it's a warning. It's about what happens when pride mocks humility and pays the price. You'll feel every word, every pause, every drop of truth crawling under your skin. Stay till the end, because this one, it's gonna make you rethink every arrogant face you've ever met. Yeah, you heard me. And hey, shout out to you. Yeah, you, the real ones who don't need to scream to be heard. You're the reason this message hits harder than steel. You're the reminder that calm isn't weakness, it's controlled. Keep commenting, keep watching, keep feeding that sharp mind of yours, because together we make silence dangerous again. They laugh loudest when the mighty start to slip. You've seen it, haven't you? That little smirk they try to hide behind their hands when someone's arrogance finally trips over its own reflection. Oh wow, the satisfaction in their eyes when pride collapses in public. They've been waiting for it, feeding on it, because that's what the crowd does. They build you up just to enjoy the crash. It's their favorite show. And this one? This arrogant person thought he was untouchable. He walked through rooms like he owned the oxygen. Every word dripped with superiority. Every glance screamed, "You're beneath me." He didn't know the storm he was calling toward himself. He didn't see the silent faces watching, the ones he dismissed, mocked, ignored, the ones who never forgot. See, arrogance blinds. It's not confidence, it's poison dressed as pride. It whispers, you can't fall. It convinces you that every victory is your own creation, that no one else matters, that no rules apply to you. And when that belief hardens, it isolates you. It pushes away every reminder that you're still human, still breakable. That's when the collapse begins, quietly, invisibly, until it's too late. Yeah, the crowd laughs now. But their laughter isn't pure joy. It's hunger. Because they're not laughing with him, they're laughing at him. They're devouring the moment they've waited for. That's what arrogance does. It paints a target on your back so bright that even the shadows aim for it. Oh, and he doesn't even realize what happened yet. That's the part that makes it delicious for them. He still thinks he can recover with another display, another speech, another sneer. But the audience has already decided. They've turned him into the evening entertainment. Every proud step he takes now looks like desperation to them. Every smirk now looks like fear in disguise. The fall has already begun. It just hasn't hit the floor yet. You know what's worse than being hated? Being laughed at? Hatred still acknowledges your strength. Laughter means they've seen through the act. It means you're no longer the beast, you're the clown, and nothing cuts deeper than that realization. But here's the real twist, the one none of them understand. The moment the arrogant fall, the ones who were quiet rise, the ones who were mocked, ignored, underestimated, they start to see the pattern. They see how arrogance builds its own trap, brick by brick, and they learn. They grow. They sharpen. They realize that silence was never a weakness, it was patience. So when the pride finally crashes, the patient doesn't just survive, they evolve. They inherit everything arrogance loses: respect, power, legacy. The crowd forgets who made them laugh, but they always remember who stood tall when the laughter stopped. Oh wow. Yeah, that's the cruel poetry of it, isn't it? The fall of arrogance feeds the rise of wisdom. But wait, what happens when the one they laughed at doesn't stay down? Some people stand up not to be seen again, but to make sure no one forgets what rose from silence. When the arrogant one falls, the world claps. But when the broken one stands, the world goes quiet, because something about rising from ruins terrifies them. Oh wow, they laugh at arrogance, but they fear endurance. They don't know what to do when someone refuses to stay on the ground. When someone who was supposed to disappear starts walking again, slower, colder, sharper. See, when arrogance shatters, it makes noise. But when endurance builds, it makes silence. That's the difference. The arrogant fight to prove they're still strong. The awakened don't fight at all. They let time do it for them. They let patience turn the noise into lessons. They learn how to stand differently, not taller, but truer. Yeah, the crowd still watches. They whisper, they wonder, they wait. But this time the broken one doesn't speak to them. He doesn't explain. He doesn't defend. Because once you've been laughed at, you stop performing for the audience. You start performing for the purpose. There's a strange calm that comes after humiliation, the calm of someone who has nothing left to protect except their integrity. That's when the rebuilding begins. Quiet, relentless, without announcement. Every scar becomes a symbol, every mistake a map. The same people who mocked now pretend not to see, because watching you rebuild reminds them of everything they refuse to repair in themselves. That's why their laughter dies so quickly. It's easy to mock a fall until the fallen becomes the mirror. He doesn't chase reputation anymore. That's what arrogance does. He chases refinement, strength from discipline, clarity from chaos, humility from the ashes of pride. And it changes everything, because once you taste humility, arrogance tastes like poison. Once you've been broken, power without wisdom feels like weakness in disguise. Oh wow. Yeah. The transformation isn't glamorous. It's slow. It's brutal. It strips you to your bones. But in that stripping, something extraordinary happens. You stop fearing loss. You realize that nothing anyone takes from you can destroy what's within you. That's when real strength appears, not the kind that shouts, but the kind that endures. And when that strength awakens, the same audience that laughed before starts whispering your name differently. Not as a joke, but as a warning. Because they can't understand how someone they'd buried learned to breathe again. They can't understand how calm can be more powerful than pride. That's the secret. When you stop proving your worth, you start becoming it. And the one who once mocked you, he starts seeing himself in your shadow. And it terrifies him. Because endurance doesn't just rebuild, it replaces. When endurance stops whispering, the world realizes it was never weak. It was waiting. Oh, wow. They didn't expect that, did they? They thought patience meant permission. They thought silence meant surrender. But silence, true silence, is not the absence of strength. It's the containment of it. It's the storm learning self-control. And when that storm finally speaks, it doesn't shout, it commands. You see, accountability is the storm's language. It doesn't come to destroy, it comes to reveal. It strips away the illusion of power that arrogance wears like armor. It reminds everyone that strength without humility is just noise dressed in confidence. That's what the arrogant one never understood. He thought silence made others small. He never realized silence was studying him, recording every word, every gesture, every mask. Yeah, that's the part that stings, isn't it? The same eyes he once looked down on now stare through him. The same people he mocked now speak with the calm certainty of truth. Because once you face the cost of arrogance, you start seeing through its disguise everywhere. You see how it destroys trust, how it turns leaders into tyrants, how it replaces respect with fear, and then mistakes that fear for loyalty. Oh wow. Yeah. Nah, the real twist is that accountability doesn't need revenge. It just needs time. Because time always exposes what arrogance tries to hide. It reveals who built their foundation on ego and who built it on discipline. It shows who chased attention and who chased purpose. And when that revelation arrives, no apology can erase it. The storm doesn't roar. It reminds the world that arrogance was never strength, only insecurity in costume. It reminds the mockers that laughter doesn't erase truth, and it reminds the fallen that endurance when refined becomes authority. Not the kind forced on others, but the kind that stands on its own, unshaken, undeniable. That's when the tone shifts. The laughter dies down, the whispers fade. People start watching again, but this time differently. They're not looking for mistakes now. They're waiting for lessons. They want to understand how the one they laughed at learned to move through the fire without burning. And that's where the real power lies, in transformation that doesn't need to announce itself. The arrogant one finally realizes it too. Too late, of course. He sees that every smirk, every taunt, every display of superiority was never strength. It was fear pretending to be confidence. Fear that someone better, wiser, calmer would emerge. And now that someone has, the storm doesn't punish. It replaces the old world with truth. It rebuilds without asking permission. That's accountability. Not vengeance, but balance. And when balance returns, the arrogant one doesn't know where to stand anymore, because the very ground he once ruled no longer remembers his name. When silence begins to teach, even arrogance must sit down. That's when the world changes, quietly but permanently. The storm has passed, yet its echo lingers. People start to notice that those who once spoke loudest now stutter when asked for truth, and those who were once dismissed now speak with clarity that pierces through pride. Oh wow, how strange it is. The ones once mocked now guide the ones who laughed. The tables didn't turn suddenly, they turned slowly, through patience, through endurance, through quiet correction. You see, when silence teaches, it doesn't shout about power. It reveals character. It shows who learned from the fall and who's still pretending they never stumbled. The arrogant one, now exposed, stands in front of a crowd that no longer applauds him. He feels the weight of eyes that once admired him but now measure him. Accountability has rewritten the stage. Every boast that once echoed now sounds like a confession. Every lie once told to control others now burns in the open light of truth. Yeah, The crowd's laughter isn't there anymore. It's replaced by thought, reflection, maybe even regret. Because now they realize arrogance wasn't just his disease, it was theirs too. They fed it, encouraged it, cheered for it, because it entertained them. They mistook pride for leadership and mockery for strength. Oh wow, yeah, now they see how easily arrogance can spread, not as power but as infection. That's the real lesson in the ashes. Every downfall teaches everyone watching. It tells the arrogant that pride is a fragile throne, and it tells the silent that endurance is a quiet crown. And this is where the broken become the teachers. Not with revenge, not with fury, but with proof. The kind of proof that cannot be denied because it stands before everyone's eyes, rebuilt, refined, unshaken. Now the audience doesn't just see one person's fall, they see their reflection in it. They see how mockery destroys unity, how arrogance blinds judgment, how laughter without empathy poisons the soul. They start to whisper differently, not in gossip, but in realization, because the fall of one arrogant person revealed the truth about them all. Oh wow. The silence that once felt heavy now feels sacred, not in words but in meaning. It's a silence of understanding, the kind that forces the world to listen before it speaks again. The broken have become the voice of reason, the living reminder that power without humility collapses, and that pride without self-awareness builds its own ending. But here's where it deepens, because teaching isn't the end, it's the beginning of something else. When the quiet start to teach, they begin to lead. And leadership born from endurance is something the arrogant can never imitate. Because you can fake confidence, but you can't fake wisdom. Wisdom doesn't just rewrite rules. It rewires the world that created them. When wisdom finally steps forward, the air changes. People walk slower, speak softer, think deeper. Because now, they've seen what happens when arrogance leads and endurance follows. Oh wow, how quickly power shifts when truth decides it's had enough. The once loud are silent. The once ignored are shaping futures. The once mocked now build the very foundations others stand on. This isn't revenge, it's restoration. The reordering of what arrogance once corrupted. Wisdom doesn't come wearing a crown. It comes wearing scars. It doesn't boast. It demonstrates. Every move it makes carries precision, not for glory, but for clarity. The world starts realizing that the most dangerous kind of leader isn't the loud one, it's the one who listens. Because listening collects what pride misses. It sees patterns. It measures reactions. It notices how people reveal themselves when they think no one's watching. Yeah, the arrogant never saw that coming. They thought wisdom was weakness, that quiet minds were harmless. But quiet minds remember everything. They remember the laughter, the arrogance, the false confidence. And when their time arrives, they don't mimic the arrogance they endured. They correct it. They use justice instead of ego, patience instead of impulse, purpose instead of show. Oh wow, yeah, nah. And that's what terrifies the proud the most, the idea that power could exist without pride. This reordering doesn't scream. It simply is. It doesn't need chaos to change the system. It needs consistency. Every humble action becomes a revolution in itself. Every moment of integrity dismantles what arrogance once built. The shift isn't loud, but it's unstoppable. It spreads not through domination, but through example, because real influence isn't imposed. It's earned through proof. People start to follow different kinds of strength now, not the one that demands loyalty, but the one that deserves it. They start valuing depth over display, understanding over applause. They look at the fallen arrogant one and realize this is the cost of ego. This is the price of forgetting that pride blinds faster than darkness, and they vow not to repeat it. That's how the world rewires. Not through force, but through awakening. Through the recognition that the most unshakable power belongs to those who rule themselves first. Arrogance never stood a chance against that, because arrogance depends on validation, while wisdom thrives on truth. And now the one they laughed at stands where the arrogant once stood, not to gloat, but to guard, to protect balance, to remind everyone that respect isn't demanded, it's maintained. The laughter has turned into silence again, but this time it's not mockery, it's awe. Because everyone sees it now, what endurance truly becomes when refined by time. Oh wow, the cycle is complete. The lesson has lived. The arrogant one fell. The broken one rose. And the world forever changed, learned to listen before it laughs. And there it is, the ending they never saw coming. The arrogant one thought the stage was his forever. Oh wow, yeah, nah, not anymore. The audience flipped the script. The one they laughed at became the one they learned from. That's how the story always goes. Pride burns out, but truth keeps breathing. So if you felt that heat tonight, that chill that hits when karma finally whispers back, don't just scroll away. Stay a while. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Tell me which line hit you hardest. Because your mind, your voice, your energy, that's what fuels these words. You're not just viewers. You're the movement. Every time you listen, every time you share, every time you speak up, you remind the world that silence isn't weakness, it's precision. You remind them that calm people aren't soft. They're calculating. Oh wow. You're the reason these truths reach the ones who need it most. So keep your head steady. Keep your soul unshaken. And the next time arrogance walks by laughing, just smile, because you already know what happens next. Yo, listen close. You ever feel like someone's been watching your every move? Like every post, every silence, every breath, tracked, studied, copied? Oh yeah, they've been taking notes, buddy. Every time you moved in quietly, they thought you were weak. Every time you didn't react, they thought you were scared. Nah, you were just loading, waiting, calculating. Because guess what? They've been watching you for months. Every decision, every pause, every time you refuse to break. And now? Oh, now they want a meeting? A little talk, huh? A friendly check-in? Don't be fooled. That's not curiosity. That's fear wrapped in formality. They're not inviting you because they care. They're calling you in because they can't read you anymore. You've grown too unpredictable, too aware, too dangerous for their comfort. They thought you'd stay small, predictable, easy to label, but you flipped the script. You turned silence into strategy, pain into pattern. And now, the watchers want to see you up close to figure out what changed. Oh, but they don't get it yet. You changed everything. The experiment broke free from the lab. You were never the test subject. You were the storm forming behind the glass, waiting for your moment to shatter it all. So listen, this speech, this isn't entertainment. This is a revelation. Watch till the end, because every second after this drips with the kind of truth they don't want you to hear. Drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear from the ones who see through the noise. The ones who know that silence isn't surrender, it's a strategy. Now buckle up, because after this, you'll never look at the watchers the same way again. They don't always knock when they arrive. Sometimes, you just feel them breathing in the silence, watching from the corners of your story. They've been watching you for months, studying the way your hands move when you make decisions, the way your eyes shift when something inside you stirs. Oh, they've been patient, silent, pretending they're just passing through. But no, they've been waiting for the right second, the right blink, the right heartbeat. Because they're not watching to learn, they're watching to measure. You see, they record your hesitation. They mark every second you doubt yourself. They whisper among themselves how long until the fire dies. But that's the part they never understood. Your silence was never weakness. It was calculation. You were letting them believe you were predictable. You were letting them write their little reports, counting your steps like you were trapped in their maze. Wow. If only they knew you were never in the maze, you were studying them. You felt their eyes, didn't you? That strange pressure when you're alone, that static in the air before something shifts. The watchers don't use chains anymore. They use curiosity. They feed off your reaction. Every time you post, speak, or move with purpose, they flinch because you remind them of something they lost: conviction. That's why they monitor. That's why they linger. You represent what they abandoned. But let me tell you something brutal. They don't just want to see you now. They want to touch your direction. They want to insert doubt like a shadow in your bloodstream. They want to sit across from you, all smiles and strategy, pretending it's a meeting. Yeah, a meeting. A performance dressed as respect. But what they really want is access to your code, your composure, your calm. Oh, you didn't think calm was dangerous. It terrifies them. Because calm means clarity, and clarity means control. That's the one thing watchers can't stand. When the one being watched refuses to dance to the invisible rhythm. They expected you to panic under their gaze, to shatter, to explain yourself, to beg for understanding. But you didn't. You stared right back. You kept working in silence. You evolved without their permission. And that drove them mad. Now they want a meeting. They'll say it's to collaborate, to align, to exchange energy. But no, it's to measure again, to see if you still remember your worth. Because when the watcher cannot predict you, they must confront you. And when they confront you, the mask begins to slip. Nah, you don't go to their meeting to impress. You go to remind them that observation doesn't equal ownership, that no one gets to define your frequency just because they've been staring long enough. You are not their experiment. You are the variable that breaks their formula. And when they finally sit across from you, all polite smiles and sharpened questions, you'll see it, the twitch, the hesitation, the silent realization that the person they've been studying is not the same one sitting in front of them now. Because the watcher's nightmare isn't losing sight of you, it's realizing you were never afraid of their sight to begin with. When the predator stares too long, it forgets that the prey might evolve fangs. So what happens when the watchers discover the one they've been observing has been watching them right back? Simple. The tension flips. Their comfort fractures. Their illusion of control starts to sweat. Because for months, they believed they were invisible, that their eyes were the only eyes in the room. But you were recording their rhythm, their tone, their silence. Every test they threw your way, every rumor they crafted, every glance disguised as curiosity, you stored it. Quietly, patiently. You see, the watchers love to think they're the only ones playing chess. But they forget. The board belongs to whoever understands patience. And patience, when sharpened, becomes the most silent form of power. That's what you learned while they stared. You learned how stillness can slice cleaner than anger. You learned that exposure doesn't equal weakness. It's strategy. Whoa, wow. You even let them think they were winning. Let them write their little scripts about you, their tidy conclusions, their confident predictions, because you knew. When the time came, the truth would speak louder than any rumor ever could. You don't have to shout when your existence itself is a contradiction to their expectations. Yeah, they expected you to crumble under pressure, to react, to break your rhythm and beg for understanding. But instead, you turned your stillness into a mirror. And when they looked too closely, they didn't see you. They saw their own corruption. That's why they flinched. That's why they suddenly want that meeting. It's not a curiosity anymore. It's damage control. Here's the thing they never anticipated. The moment the watcher becomes watched, the entire hierarchy collapses. They start second-guessing themselves. Every glance becomes a confession. Every pause becomes a question. And every false smile starts to twitch. Because deep down, they know you know. Nah, you're not going to confront them with fury. Fury feeds them. You'll confront them with calm precision. You'll let silence hang heavy. The kind that forces people to hear their own fear echo back. You won't argue. You'll observe. You'll let their own behavior expose itself. Because when the light of awareness hits deceit, deceit burns itself alive. Oh, and when you finally speak, speak slow. Every word is a verdict. Every sentence is a step closer to unraveling. The watchers thought they were dissecting your weakness, but you were mapping their patterns. Every test they used to break you became a blueprint of their tactics. And now you hold it. The manual to their manipulation. That's the irony of it all. They built their identity around watching others. But no one ever taught them what to do when they became the spectacle. When the eyes they feared to meet are the only ones that truly see them. And that realization, it terrifies them. Because for the first time, they're not the narrators, they're the exposed characters inside your story. When truth walks into a room, deceit starts sweating before anyone speaks. But what happens when the meeting they demanded finally begins, and you walk in already knowing every move they'll make? The air shifts, the lights hum a little louder, even the silence feels staged. They sit there composed, confident, pretending this is just business. But their eyes betray them. There's a flicker of calculation behind every smile. You've seen that look before, the look of people who built a plan, only to realize the plan is now in someone else's hands, yours. You don't rush. You take your time. Every step you take toward that chair is deliberate, controlled. purposeful. Because this isn't just a meeting, it's a silent interrogation. Not of you, of them. You're not the subject anymore. You're the mirror they can't manipulate. Oh wow. You notice how they shift slightly when you sit down, that small nervous twitch. They start with politeness, the soft kind, the one that hides knives in its tone. They talk about collaboration, future vision, and alignment. The same recycled words that hide the same old fear. They can't control what they don't understand, and they don't understand you. You answer little. You let them speak, because words are their favorite camouflage. They drown in them. You, on the other hand, have mastered silence, the most uncomfortable weapon in a room full of talkers. Every second you don't respond stretches into a lifetime for them. They start filling the gaps with nervous explanations, revealing more than they intend. You can almost see their strategies peeling apart under the weight of their own noise. Yeah, they try to read your face, but your calm disorients them. They expected defiance, maybe arrogance, maybe even fear, but not this steady, watchful stillness. It unnerves them, because stillness means you've already decided something they haven't yet guessed. It means you've seen through the entire performance. Oh, and then comes the shift. The moment when they realize this isn't going as planned. They start to probe, subtle questions designed to uncover what you know. But every time they try to lead you into a corner, you turn it into a question instead. You make them explain their motives, and suddenly the watchers feel watched again. The meeting becomes a reversal. The hunter becomes the studied specimen. Nah. You don't even need to expose them directly. You let time do it for you. You let the weight of their own intentions crush their confidence. Every fake smile, every misdirected compliment, every attempt to disguise control as concern, you see it, and they feel you see it. That's the moment the power flips completely. By the time the meeting ends, they'll smile and shake your hand, pretending nothing's changed. But they'll walk away with their certainty shattered. Because the one they came to measure just turned the whole operation into a lesson in perception. You didn't attend their meeting to be understood. You attended to remind them. The one who sees clearly can't be cornered. Power doesn't hide in the shadows. It hides in plain sight, behind the smiles you trust the most. But clarity comes at a price. And once you've seen behind the curtain, can you ever unsee what's really controlling them? The answer arrives quietly. No, you can't. Because once your eyes adjust to the machinery, you realize the watchers were never individuals. They were a network, a structure, a system built not to observe truth, but to preserve illusion. They didn't start watching you because they feared you. They watched you because they recognized something dangerous: independence. The kind that doesn't require validation, doesn't chase applause, doesn't bend for acceptance. And in a world built on manipulation, independence is treated like rebellion. Oh wow. The curtain wasn't made of fabric. It was made of distraction. Constant noise, endless chatter. They use it to drown awareness, to make you forget who benefits when everyone's attention is scattered. They want eyes open but minds asleep. That's their design, because awake minds can't be controlled. You started noticing the patterns, didn't you? The repetition in their words, the rhythm of their control. The same tactics dressed in a new language. The same promises are recycled under new slogans. You realize the Watchers aren't just people, they're habits, systems, and fears disguised as authority. They thrive on uncertainty because it breeds dependence. Yeah, and when you stopped reacting, they panicked because your silence forced them to face something they couldn't manipulate. Awareness. Awareness makes control impossible. It's the one thing their entire system isn't built to handle. That's why they tried to meet you, not to talk, but to recalibrate their control. They wanted to measure if your awareness was contagious. But you didn't just see the curtain, you stepped past it. You watched how they operate, how they whisper doubt into ambition, turn unity into rivalry, truth into confusion. Their strength is built on distraction, their dominance on divided attention. Once you understand that, the whole stage loses its magic. Nah, you didn't come this far to be another observer. You came to break the illusion, because real clarity doesn't just see through deception, it dismantles it. It questions everything that pretends to be normal. It doesn't scream for change. It becomes the change quietly, relentlessly. You now know why they watched you. They feared what awareness could do if it spread. One aware person is a threat. 1,000 aware minds are unstoppable. That's the secret behind their surveillance. They never cared about your face or your voice. They cared about your awakening. Because once one person stops playing along, the entire performance begins to fall apart. Oh, they'll try to rewrite your story now, call you unpredictable, difficult, dangerous. Let them. That's what systems do when they can't own what they don't understand. Their fear is proof that you've stepped beyond their reach. You don't fight them with chaos. You defeat them with clarity. And that's the moment it hits you. You're not being watched anymore. You're being studied for strategy. Because they know if you keep spreading awareness, more will follow your silence, your discipline, your refusal to kneel. Every empire built on illusion fears the one who moves with purpose. But awareness isn't the end, it's the beginning. What do you do once you see the whole game and realize it's your move next? The Watchers thought they were playing chess with you, but you were never on their board. You built your own piece by piece, forged from experience, from silence, from endurance. And now, every move you make doesn't just change the game, it changes the rules. You sit back for a moment, don't you? Because the realization hits differently. This isn't about them anymore. It's about what you do with what you know. You've seen how easily people surrender their thinking for comfort, how they trade their awareness for convenience. And you understand now, your real task isn't to expose them, but to outgrow them. Oh wow. The Watchers will still linger. They'll test you again, whisper doubt again, try to measure again. But their power only works on those who play by their script. You've burned that script. You've written your own. Every step you take now is a contradiction to their design. You don't react, you respond. You don't seek approval, you seek precision. That's how you win without playing their game. Yeah. This stage of the journey is quiet. No applause, no spotlight, just the hum of discipline, the kind that rebuilds you from the inside. Because while they watch for spectacle, you're constructing substance. You're teaching yourself to move without noise, to strike with purpose, to rise without permission. That's what they can't calculate. You no longer need their acknowledgement to validate your growth. You've outpaced their measurement system entirely. They can't record what they can't predict. They can't control what doesn't need their recognition. And that's your real strength. Not rebellion for show, but mastery in silence. Nah, the real revolution isn't loud. It's consistent. It's the one that happens quietly inside people who choose awareness over apathy. It's built by those who refuse to become entertainment for systems that thrive on distraction. You've become that kind of force, the one that doesn't perform truth, but lives it. Oh, and they'll know. Even if you never say a word, they'll know. They'll sense the shift in your energy, the precision in your movement, the peace in your discipline. Because awareness leaves traces, calm confidence, unshakable focus, and the kind of silence that unsettles deceivers. That's what happens when you stop reacting to their observation and start shaping your own purpose. You've turned their surveillance into your stage, their scrutiny into your strength, their questions into your momentum. They tried to measure you, but in doing so, they became part of your lesson. Now it's your move. The watchers are still watching, but their power is gone, because the one they observed became the one they now follow. Silently, unwillingly, but inevitably. And the greatest irony of all, they can't stop. Because the moment awareness awakens in one, it starts echoing in others. So, they watched, they whispered, they waited, thinking you'd crumble. Oh wow, what a mistake. Because now you've seen them too. And once the watch becomes aware, the game flips forever. Stay sharp, stay silent. And if you felt that spark tonight, drop your thoughts below. This stage isn't mine, it's ours.